Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Oh, that's good. Do you ever wake up really super hungry on certain mornings? Other mornings, I don't need to eat anything until like 11 o'clock. This morning, I woke up starving. So that first sip hits really good. It's a beautiful day here in St. Pete Beach, Florida. We're not getting pounded with the usual humidity, so that's always good. Hopefully I will get some time outdoors today. Today is a filming day. So I did an extra zhuzh on the hair, a little extra makeup. I'm doing some filming for my Hair Color Secrets Insider members today. It's going to be a great day. So if you have seen the teasers for today's coffee chat, that was from a premiere show that I did where I was on stage saying, I haven't met a gray I could not cover. And that is the truth. Actually, I'm lying. There's one gray that I have yet to cover, and it's this one client of mine in her eyebrows. She has the most angry, stubborn, wiry gray that will not lay down. I keep laying it down and putting more color, more color, more color. It keeps poking back up. So that is the exception to me saying I have never met Teresa said she cannot hear. Can everybody else hear me before I keep doing this? Let me see in the comments if the rest of you can hear, because Teresa, it could just be on your end. You might have something with your sound on your device. Anyone? Let me know. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but yes. Okay, cool. So I think the reason that a lot of us struggle to cover gray is because we're putting gray under this big encompassing envelope of one thing. It's gray. It's just gray. So I wanted to share with you what I'm going to be going into more detail on in my November workshop. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you may have noticed with my Facebook ads, the price keeps going up. So if you're having FOMO now, when you could have bought it at $67, by the time it gets to $197, you're going to be really upset that you didn't pull the trigger sooner. So just a little heads up on that. So in the workshop, we spend 3 nights together. I teach for an hour, and then we have an hour of hearty Q&A afterwards. And the biggest thing that comes up in the Q&A is the aha moments that people learn about gray coverage from what I taught the hour before. And it's really super simple, guys. It's so simple, but it's something you just never thought of. You just think, okay, gray hair, manufacturer says to do this. Teresa, turn your whatever you're watching on off and turn it back on, and you'll be able to hear. So, just thinking of it as like a one size all thing, when I go into my 5-step roadmap on coloring hair, you're like, wow, I've never done step 2. I've never even heard of step 4. So it's 5 simple steps to be able to formulate without fail every single time because you took the time for the 5 steps. So I wanted to share, my daughter, as you know, just got married. I wore a dress. I'm such a freak when it comes to like an annual color. Let's just say that. And you probably have noticed if you followed me for any given time, the one year it was like everything was fuchsia pink. Every video you'll see me in a fuchsia pink top and pink nails, and everything is pink. And then the next year, everything is a version of blue. It's this color blue or this color blue, but all different versions of blue until I exhaust myself with it. And then the next year will be browns and mochas and tans, and the next year and so on. So this year happens to be a lot of different variations of gray. And the reason I'm talking about this is not because I'm a typical mother of the bride that loves to talk about their daughter's wedding, but because the dress that I wore to the rehearsal dinner is like a really deep gunmetal gray. And more than one person has said to me, oh my gosh, I love the pictures from the wedding. You guys all look great. It looks like you had a great time. That mushroom brown color is your color. That color you wore to her rehearsal dinner, you should wear that more often. And it's not mushroom brown. But it really made me realize that maybe it is mushroom brown. Maybe my eyes are seeing that dress as gunmetal gray, and my 2 closest friends are seeing it as a version of brown. So imagine you're behind the chair every day. You're looking at what you perceive to be silver gray, gunmetal gray, whichever variation. And your neighbor 2 chairs over might say, girl, that's not even gray. That's just ash brown hair, right? So it's a fact. If you do any kind of research, remember the dress that was going around on Facebook and Instagram? Like, what color is the dress? Is it white and gold? Is it blue and black? My bestie and I were on vacation. We're looking at it on my iPad. We're both looking at it on the same device. It wasn't like she was on her phone, I was on my iPad. We're both looking at it on the same device. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's totally white and gold. And I was like, white and gold? It's as blue and black as possibly can be. There is nothing white about that. And we're both there together. So realize that when you're analyzing a client's color, it's not that you're not educated. It's not that you don't know what you're doing. It's that your eyes can only see what your eyes can see. So you have to go through these 5 steps in the roadmap to cover your bases, that if you are not seeing it as what it truly is, you're still going to be covered. And it's not going to make sense when I say that now, because you have to come to the workshop to know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot more going on than just spreading their hair and saying, oh, okay, she has gray, I'm going to do this. Because when you're formulating, I want to ask you this, and you can feel free to put it in the comments. When you're formulating, do you spread the hair out, take a look, and go right immediately to the formulation for the gray? Or are you formulating for the natural color that's in there to get to the desired result? Which is it? Because I know when I get feedback from someone and they say, I just cannot get this client covered, and they give me their formula, I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. Of course you're not covering gray with that. What were you thinking? So it's what you're choosing and really understanding what tones and backgrounds and bases of the actual tube or bottle of color. I was looking around to see if I had one. What is actually in that product? Is it really designed to cover gray, or are you trying to put a square peg in a round hole? Because a lot of times you are. I'm not going to lie. I've seen people say, oh, my client, I used what you said. I did the demi on her and it didn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, let me hear more about it. And it was 100% gray, white. And they used Shades EQ level 10. I'm like, okay, not the Shades EQ's fault, not the hair's fault. That was your fault, because the level 10 Shades EQ has such minimal pigment in it. It's not designed to cover gray on white hair at a level 10. So if you don't really understand, and I've gotten some nasty comments. I did, one of my typical teaser videos, and I said, actually my virtual assistant, a lot of my Instagram posts, she takes from these coffee chats. She'll grab something that I say. A lot of times it's a very short clip and completely out of context. So she's going to get me in trouble one of these days. And sometimes I look at it before she posts it. Sometimes I don't. So shame on me. But this one I said, there's fearless formulators, and then there's guessing and stressing formulators. I haven't seen many fierce formulators. And someone said, I took a screenshot of it because I was like, oh, I got to remember this hater so that it can fuel me to do better and really keep going. Because if you're getting hate, that's a good sign. That means people are paying attention. But this person, I think it was a man, said, what are you, living in a shoe? You don't see many fierce formulators? I do not. I have hundreds of students in my membership that struggle with gray coverage, and there's no shame in the game. It just is what it is, but they were never properly taught. It has nothing to do with confidence. It has nothing to do with what product they're using. It has to do with the education of the foundations of hair color and how it works, because most of us, myself included, were under the impression that hair color works like paint. And that if you look at a swatch book and the manufacturer tells me that this is a 7N, that if I put this on any client, important word, if I put this on any client, this is what I'm going to get. And we all know, if we've been coloring hair more than a minute, that that's simply not true. But they never told us what it does do and how to work with it so that it does do what we want it to do. And that's what I'm here to do. And that's why I reach out to all of you and say, please share this workshop with other people that you know need it. That person in your salon that keeps having corrective work, and that your boss is like, oh, I do not want to give her a new color client because I know they're not going to come back. If you're fully confident and you're here watching me and you're like, I've got this, I don't need that workshop. I get it. A lot of you don't need it, but a lot of people do. So I'm asking you, as someone who shows up for you every Wednesday, I'm asking for you to show up for me. So if you want to have a little skin in the game, we're offering a new affiliate program. We only offered it to our Hair Color Secrets Insider members first. So if you are not an insider and you're already coming to the workshop, or you know, are thinking about coming to the workshop, you can reach out to us and you can become an affiliate for this workshop. So what does an affiliate mean? It means if you're in a forum, hair color, hairstylists, struggling hairstyle, whatever, there's a million of them that I'm in, and you see someone that says, and I love you guys, like a bunch of you that are on here now, I see you cheering me on. Someone will say, I've mastered cutting, I've mastered styling, I'm doing really well, but I see my coworkers making a lot more money in color and I'm just not confident. And my notifications blow up. Carolyn mentioned you in Hair Color Secrets, whatever, and this one mentioned you, and they're all saying Elaine Travis, Elaine Travis, Elaine Travis. The problem is the name of my company is Expert Color Solutions. As you see, you come here for coffee chats under Expert Color Solutions. So I have probably 500 friend requests of my Elaine Travis personal page, which is me in the mushroom. Is it mushroom gray or is it steely mushroom brown or steely gray dress? It's my personal stuff, my daughter's wedding, our family at the beach, Portugal, my latest vacation. So it's not that I don't want to be your friend, but I don't want to say yes to you coming into that page. And then you're like, all this lady talks about is her kids and her trips, because that's not where the education is. So I need all of you to help me when you're sharing, go to Elaine. She's great with teaching color. Say Elaine at Expert Color Solutions, because then they'll go to my website, Expert Color Solutions. But even better, you can become an affiliate for the workshop. The person that refers the most people to buy the workshop, which is a 3-part, like I said, 1 hour on a Thursday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday, full hour after of hearty Q&A. Every 3 weeks, the price goes up. So right now, I believe, and Bryn will kill me if I say this wrong, I believe right now it is still at $97 until October 10th. October 10th, it goes up to $127. After that, right before the workshop, it goes up to $197. Why do we do that? Because I want people who take action, the people who immediately click the button. You've watched those game shows, Family Feud or whatever, where the person has to hurry up and hit the button and then answer. A lot of those people hit the button and then come up with the answer because they want to beat the other person to it no matter what. That's what we like to have in this group, because they show up live, they show up for the Q&A, they learn, and they end up becoming members because they got so much value after those 3 little sessions that they're like, wow, if she did this in 3 hours, what is she going to do in, 6 months or 9 months or a year? So if you guys can put the word out there, I like to reward action takers. So reach out to, what is the email that Bryn wants people to reach out to? I would do mine. Do Elaine at expertcolorsolutions.com. I'll put it into the comments. Elaine at expertcolorsolutions.com. What will happen is Bryn will create a custom link for you to go to the page where people buy. Is Bryn on here? Bryn saying hello at Expert Color Solutions. So either one. Hello is probably better because it'll go right to Bryn. But she'll create a custom link. And then anytime you share that link on any site and someone clicks and purchases the workshop, you get credit for that. And then at the end of the workshop, whoever referred the most people gets an entire year with me of coaching in the Hair Color Secrets Insiders. So it's a huge prize because we want to help as many people as possible. And I am one person. And there's only so much that a Facebook ad can do because people, you know how it is. You scroll mindlessly, you just keep scrolling and scrolling. So that's enough of my soapbox. Let's get back to the gray. So you could look at a client that looks like this, and you could say, okay, she's gray, right? But 50% of this hair is gray and 50% is level 4. This is the pivot point version of gray. This is what Pivot Point says is considered gray hair. Look at the difference between this and this. If I put the same color on both of these, am I going to get the same result? Absolutely not. Then Rusk does their testing on this gray. This is considered gray on the Rusk color. I know that for a fact because I got it from someone very high up at Rusk that shared with me this is what their swatch is done on. So Rusk, Pivot Point, and 50/50 test swatch. These are all gray. A lot of your clients have all three of these on their head. We count them all as one, AKA the mushroom dress, the stainless steel gunmetal gray dress. We put it all under one little lump and we go and we pick our color. If there's more gray, we end up saying, okay, let's just use all N, neutral. If there's less gray, we're like, okay, let's use barely any neutral at all. But did you know there's another color in the color wheel that covers gray beautifully that's not neutral? And that there's a reason to use it? I bet you don't, because every time I teach that in my workshop, the whole comment section blows up and says, oh, OMG, 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 I never knew this, never taught this, never taught this. Where's this been my whole career? And I do it every 6 months and it never fails. That's something that people have an aha moment on. The other aha moment is what percentage of gray is in there? Do you even pay attention? Do you even look into what percentage is in there? And do you pay attention to the pattern of the gray? These are old insiders. Stop giving away my secrets. So there's so many more factors and so many more things to covering that gray hair. And I promise you, when I say that I've never met a gray hair I could not cover, that is the absolute positive truth. I went to 12 years of Catholic school. I pride myself on not lying. I don't embellish. I don't, make things look like different than they are. I don't get Botox and then tell you that it's this wonderful cream that I'm selling. I'm not that person. But I am a person who does not quit until I figure something out. And I have traveled extensively all over the world, finding out every single thing I possibly can about hair color, how it works, what the difference is between cream color, liquid color, what the difference is between different volumes of developer, enzyme developer, adding things into your lightener, all of the things. I talk to chemists. I do the homework where I don't just, take somebody on TikTok and take their word for it. I actually will reach out to a chemist and say, is this actually true from a chemistry standpoint? Because I don't want to be the person whispering it down the lane and having everybody, harm their clients doing this technique. For example, Sweet and Low. Sweet and Low is a great example of that. So years ago, when at a hair color class, someone raised their hand and said, my client gets itching and burning on their scalp when they're getting color. What can I do? And the person teaching said, oh, just put a packet of Sweet and Low into their color and they'll be fine. And I was like, whoever discovered that, and was it an accident? Kind of like Viagra. We won't get into how that happened, but my niece is on medication for a health issue and it's liquid Viagra. That is what Viagra was meant to do, to help her with her lung issue. But what happened when they did it in trials to men is why it now became an erectile dysfunction drug. So Sweet and Low, same thing. I'm sure somebody, spilled it into their color. Something happened where they were like, oh, let me try this. And it worked. So I used it for years and it worked. And there was just something picking at me because my mentor, Beth Bernardi, talked about how if you put someone with permanent color, permanent oxidative color with a cap on under a hooded dryer, that you can actually participate in them getting bladder cancer because the color is seeping into their scalp and goes into their bladder, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into that because that's going to start a whole firestorm. But just hearing that I could possibly make someone sick by coloring their hair horrified me. And the next event that I went to that Beth and Carmine held in New York, they had an amazing chemist from Redken there. And I raised my hand and I said, I've been doing the whole Sweet and Low thing for a long time. And I want to know that I'm not harming anyone because I read that, artificial sweetener is bad for you, and artificial sweetener linked to cancer and all these things. I'm like, I'm putting it on people's on their scalp. Like, I don't want to be, responsible for illness. And he explained why it works, how it works, and that it's totally fine. And then I felt good about it. So that whole tear was to tell you that, yes, Carol and David Cannell. So I do my homework and I make sure, and I want you to call, like people call me out all the time that study with Dennis Gephardt. They'll be like, you said this and Dennis said that. I will pick up the phone and reach out to Dennis and say, hey, I know we teach differently, but I don't want to spread anything that's not true. Can you tell me what the reason is that you said this is not so? And then I go into my members and I say, hey guys, I know I told you this, but I talked to Dennis and he said this. So let's do this because I am not a chemist. So I want to make sure that I'm telling you the right thing. So I've done it. I've done all the homework. I've done all the rabbit holes. I've taken the time over 36 years to figure it all out. Why would you want to sit for hours and get a little thing on TikTok? Like right now, I just started going on TikTok to see what I'm missing. I can see how addictive it is because now I have to try Jamaican castor oil. Why? Because every other thing that when I'm scrolling TikTok is a woman with gorgeous skin swearing that castor oil is their new secret. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. You're supposed to put a couple drops in your belly button and it's supposed to be good for your digestion and your belly fat and menopause and all the things. So I'm going to try it and I'll let you guys know how it is. And you might end up loving it because I was the guinea pig and did it first. So that's that. So as far as gray hair, just pay attention. Is it this? Just for starters, even if you don't come to my class to learn more, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Or is it even something different? Because that's what you have to pay attention to. And then you can slay gray all day long and you can make it your mark, your brand, your tagline. We slay gray. I have mugs. I slay gray. My members got them. I think it was the first year of the membership. The members got mugs that say, I slay gray. The problem with that is there's two different spellings of gray, and that can be an issue when you're getting branded merchandise. I happen to do Grey. A lot of people do Gray. And when you look it up, it basically says both are okay, which that leads me to what we're talking about, perception. Your perception may be that gray should always be Gray. And lady, you're crazy. Why do you even do Grey? Where'd you even get that from? And that's okay because I'm not right and you're wrong and vice versa. Everything is, your perception. What color do you think that the dress is? Oh, John, is she doing okay? I hear it can really get you on the toilet in the beginning. Like some people in the comments are like, I did the belly button and I was up all night on the toilet. I'm like, I don't need any help in that area. I have that issue to begin with sometimes. So I don't want to mess with that. But I do want to fight against, these lines in the forehead. I don't want to start the whole Botox thing yet. I'm not saying I would never, but I don't like this. So, but I'm starting with the lines in the forehead and the marionette lines and the around the lips and all that stuff. So hey, my dad has passed, but he swore by castor oil. If he had an earache, he put it on a cotton ball and put it in his ear. If he had a sore throat, he put a couple drops in apple cider vinegar and he drank it. When he had, I think, kidney stones, no, he had gallstones. He started drinking it for gallstones. So he's a castor oil guy. He was telling me to drink it when I was pregnant with my daughter and I was a couple days overdue. He's like, oh, just drink some castor oil. You'll go into labor. I was like, I am not doing that, you crazy witch doctor. But apparently that would have been the answer. So how do you go to the workshop? Bryn, are you still on here? Are you able to share the link for the workshop? Actually, comment, formulate. Hopefully it still works. Comment, formulate in the comments if you would like the link to the November workshop. Something I cannot forget to say is yes, 100%. You will have access to the replays. I have gotten probably 50 emails from people saying, I would love to sign up for this, but I'm busy that day. I would love to sign up for this, but I work late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I get it. I worked till midnight on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I could never attend a workshop like this. That is why we include the replay access. So please don't hesitate to join because you have something that day. I have a doctor's appointment that people are telling me their whole life story. I have a doctor's appointment that day. I have to pick up my kids that day. It's okay. You're not going to miss it. And that's the beauty of a virtual education is you can go back to it and watch it over and over again. The only thing that you'll miss if you cannot absolutely make it to all 3 sessions, is the ability to ask me a question live. But we have a way around that. We have a private members only Facebook group of everyone that's attending the workshop. So if you have a burning question, say you rewatch lesson 1 and you have a question that nobody asked in the live Q&A, you can put it in the group, and in session 2, I will answer your question so that you can watch it whenever you want. Does that make sense? Janice, no, this is not for insiders, and do not buy a ticket because you have already been through this, and that's why you are an insider. It's the same workshop that you did when you joined me. So you're not missing anything. Don't have FOMO. Recommend it to your friends and get in on the affiliate contest so that you can get a year with me free. But do not buy it, Janice, if you are still an insider. I'm glad you brought that up. So yes, my insiders are so amazing and so wonderful that they're always the first to buy everything that I post, but a lot of it is already in their library. So I don't want them paying for it twice. So if you are new to me, or if you've been, hanging around my email list, there's a lot of you that have been on my email list for over 7 years that have never been to a workshop. So you're liking something that I'm saying, or you wouldn't still be on the email list, because we email every single week. So every once in a while, we'll clean out the list and we'll say, hey, obviously you don't like what we're doing because you haven't participated in anything. We're going to take you off the list. And they answer back, no, please don't, please don't. We want to stay. It's just we're busy, whatever. They have a million excuses, but they're not action takers, and I have no time for that. I'm happy to give you free information all day long. I have a YouTube channel with tons of information, but if you want to work with me and you actually want to move the needle forward and actually get results and make more money in your salon, you have to show up. You have to pay to enter. There's a price for admission because you have to be serious about your education. You owe it to yourself to educate yourself. That is, bar none, my secret to all of my success in my entire career has been education, education, education every single time. And no matter what it costs me, I always earn back that times 5. So I invest in myself on the regular. My investment in education would blow your head off your shoulders, what I spend every year on education, but I do it so that I can be on top of my game to help you be on top of your game. So I hope to see you in the workshop. Comment, formulate if you want the link. Reach out to Bryn, hello@expertcolorsolutions.com to become an affiliate to win an amazing prize for referring the most people to this awesome workshop. It's called Hair Color Formulation Simplified, and I hope to see you there.